In this video, I'm going to create something that complements Matthew's lecture notes, but doesn't replicate it directly, because I'd like to just show you some of the scope of what we're looking at. Have a look at this. Imagine that I create a list, and into that list, I put, there isn't such a color called brew, and I want you to code this as well. Let's say brown, let's say red, and let's say green. Okay, so there's a nice collection of colors. Now, what happens if I want to create an application where I click on it and it draws a circle with that color? Okay, there are 4 colors, so I want 4 circles. So if I do for I in range, and I'm going to have 4, it's going to go around this 4, it's going to require me to grab a point from the window. So I use p.window_getMouse, and what that will do, if I just get the height right, what that will do is every time I click, that will give me, let's call it center, because that's going to be the center of a circle. Okay, so I'm going to click the mouse inside the loop. It's going to give me a center point. Now, before I continue, what I'm going to do is, because I'm interested in drawing circles, I'm just going to create my own draw circle function. And what that's going to receive is the window is going to draw it on. It's going to receive the center, it's going to receive the radius, and it's going to receive a color. And then inside this code, what it's going to do is, bear with me a second if I can just get my tabbing right. It's going to create a circle, and to create a circle you need a center and you need a radius. So you create it like that. It's then going to fill that circle with the color that I pass this function, and then it's going to draw it on that window that I give it the window to draw. So that's going to do all my work for drawing a circle. Okay, it's a fixed radius. You can play with that yourself later. So let's come back down here and say that in my loop, what I'd like to do is I click on the mouse for a center. This gives me all my colors for each of them. And look what I do inside here. I run draw circle. I'm going to pass it window. Where is that coming from? That's this window, graphic window. It needs a center point. Where is that center coming from? That's wherever I click the mouse. Radius, we're just going to fix, I don't know, to 20. And you can think about how otherwise you could do it. And what we're missing in this statement is I'm going to call this index, right? But we'll call it I for short. And what this is going to do is it is going to go to that colors list, and it's going to pick out a color. So have a look at that. That is the clever bit. So when I is 0, it's going to pick blue, then it's going to pick brown, red, and green. So if this code works, it will demonstrate a very simple use of a loop, a range loop, graphically done. So let's run it and see if this works. Let's squeeze this up a bit and run our main. And there is our window over here. It's out of sight. Oops, I just clicked on it already. Click again, click again, click again. That was very, very simple and very, very neat. So what that demonstrates to you is that if you use lists very cleverly inside loops, you can make them really, really work. Now here's a better way of doing it. This uses an index value, but as we know from a previous one, I can just change this to say color, and I can have my list here. So when I pick this value, it doesn't give me the index, it gives me the value at there, and I'll pop that into there. So that's an even neater way of doing it, which we did in a previous video. So let's test that works as well. So we load it up, check there's no thing. All right, it's slightly off screen, so I'm going to try to drag it on. There we go. Click, 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 click. And you can see in a very, very short space of time, you can start doing some very, very interesting pieces of coding using loops and lists with graphical coding.